The Philadelphia Eagles are at a serious crossroads, and the tension is starting to boil over. Let's start with Nick Sirianni. The head coach took the podium this week and made it crystal clear there will be no major changes on the offensive side of the ball. That includes the play-calling responsibilities, which, by the way, he still has his hands all over. And honestly, that's the part that's got a lot of Eagles fans frustrated. It's not just about wins and losses anymore. It's about what we're seeing or not seeing on the field. When asked about possible changes, Sirianni didn't blink. Kevin Patullo is staying put, and no new play caller is coming in. Now, to be fair, firing people mid-season doesn't always fix things. We saw that last year when the Eagles parted ways with Sean Desai. Defensive issues didn't magically disappear. So in that sense, Sirianni might have a point. But doing nothing? That's a whole different level of denial. What this offense needs isn't necessarily a total overhaul, but it does need more voices in the room. Bring in a consultant, a senior advisor, whatever you want to call it. Just someone who understands situational play calling, someone who can help balance this offense and get the most out of Jalen Hurts and the weapons he's got around him. Because here's the deal. There are moments where you see flashes of what this offense could be. In the passing game especially, there's enough there to believe it can work. But when it comes to the run game and situational decision-making, it's been borderline dysfunctional. Just take a look at the Broncos game. That's a matchup you never should have lost, and a big part of the reason was the refusal to commit to the run. Even when the Giants were gashing you on the ground with Saquon Barkley, what did the Eagles do in response? Nothing. Minimal adjustments. No rhythm. Same down, same distance, same outcome. Predictable. That's on coaching. And yes, some of the throws Hurts missed last game were flat out on him. But if you're not setting him up with balance and structure, then what do you expect? The best offenses in this league don't just rely on elite quarterback play. They make life easier for the QB with scheme and timing. And right now, the Eagles are doing the opposite. That's why it's frustrating to hear Sirianni say that he and Patullo are working together to fix things. That sounds nice, but let's be honest, Sirianni has never been a high-level play caller. Even during his time with the Colts, it was Frank Reich who handled the heavy lifting. When he came to Philly, it was Shane Steichen who took over and helped mold Hurts into a legitimate MVP candidate. That's the problem. We've already seen the formula work with someone like Steichen. So why act like we can't replicate that success with the right coaching voices? Sirianni sticking his hands deep into the offensive pot feels more like stubborn pride than strategy. It's like having two chefs in the kitchen who don't know how to use the ingredients they've got. You're watching this play out every Sunday, and it's starting to feel like we're wasting prime years for this roster. Look, if Patullo's inexperience is part of the problem, and it absolutely is, then help the man out. No shame in that. You're trying to win football games, not protect someone's ego. It's not about blaming one person, but let's be real. If your offensive coordinator is learning on the job and your head coach isn't known for his play-calling genius, then that's a bad combination. They need someone in that room who can say, hey, this isn't working, let's try this instead. Someone with the credibility to change the direction of a drive, or a game, or even a season. And yeah, there are people in the fan base who told me to give Patullo a chance. Oh, you're being negative, they said. Let him cook. Well, here we are, 6 weeks in. And how's that looking? Most of the same people are now calling for him to be fired. Maybe the so-called negativity was just realistic analysis. Maybe the concerns were valid all along. Again, this isn't about scapegoating. The issues run deeper. But when you have a young offensive coordinator paired with a head coach who insists on staying involved in play calling despite never having shown a knack for it, that's a problem. That's a ceiling. And that ceiling is starting to show. We're watching this team run in place, relying on explosive plays to bail them out instead of building sustainable drives. We're seeing wasted possessions, predictable patterns, and a failure to adjust mid-game. You can't win consistently like that, not in this league. And it's not like the organization hasn't seen this coming. There were warning signs. They've already gone through defensive coaching changes that didn't work out. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. So what's the excuse now for not addressing the offense before it hits rock bottom? This team has Super Bowl talent, but it feels like the coaching staff is keeping them from playing like it. So yeah, Sirianni and Patullo say they're working together. That's fine, but that's not enough. You need more. You need someone with fresh eyes, new ideas, and real experience. Someone who can help refine this offense and bring balance to a unit that desperately needs it. Right now, it feels like the Eagles are trying to season a gourmet dish with just salt and pepper. Where's the garlic? Where's the paprika? Where's the flavor, man? Go get that roasted garlic and herb out the pantry and spice things up, because right now, it's bland. And bland doesn't win championships. Let's not forget, this is the same Sirianni who willingly handed over play-calling duties to Steichen when things weren't clicking a couple seasons ago. That move helped unlock Jalen Hurts and elevate the offense. So why the resistance now? Why not do what's best for the team again? Ego can't get in the way. Not when the margins are this small and the expectations this high. The reality is, if the Eagles want to get back to that level, the level where they're feared, where teams circle the calendar knowing what's coming, they have to get this right. And it starts with admitting that what's happening right now isn't working. Bringing in help isn't a sign of weakness. It's a commitment to winning. And that's something this fan base, this roster, and this city deserve. Right now, you've got a head coach trying to do too much and an offensive coordinator still figuring it out. That's not a championship formula. That's a recipe for frustration. And the worst part? Everyone sees it. Everyone feels it. We've been here before. We've seen what happens when the team waits too long to make a change. Don't let history repeat itself. The window is still open, but if this staff doesn't take action soon, it's going to slam shut before they even realize it. Now let's talk about the other side of the ball, because while the offense is stumbling, the defensive edge is flat out collapsing. And this isn't just a matter of poor form or a temporary slump. It's a real, glaring weakness that could derail the entire season if not addressed immediately. Howie Roseman needs to get on the phones, and he needs to do it now. The Eagles have a problem at edge rusher, and it's not just about depth. It's about production, urgency, and the harsh truth that this unit is nowhere near championship level. Let's be blunt, losing Zadarius Smith hurt. Say what you want about his age or his fit, but the numbers don't lie. In just a few games, he led this team's edge rushers in sacks with 1.5. That's right, 1.5 sacks led the group. And now he's retired. So let's take a quick reality check and look at the production from the rest of the edge rusher group. Patrick Johnson has 1 sack. Taylor Hunt, 0. Josh Uche, 0. Nolan Smith, also 0. O'Shane Ximines, nothing. It's a complete dry spell on the edge, and it's not like these guys aren't getting chances. The reps are there. The impact is not. Patrick Johnson, as much as I like him and appreciate his effort, should not be your leading edge rusher. That's not a knock on him. It's just a fact. He's supposed to be part of the rotation, a solid contributor. If he's your number 1 guy off the edge, you're in trouble. And unfortunately, that's exactly where the Eagles are right now. That position group has completely underperformed, and the pressure is non-existent. Opposing quarterbacks are getting too comfortable in the pocket, and that's starting to wear down the rest of the defense. Now let's talk about the name that really stings, Jalen Hunt. Coming into the season, this was the guy I had circled. He was supposed to be the breakout star, the player that made it okay to let Josh Sweat walk. Remember, Sweat loved being in Philly. He took a pay cut to stay during a Super Bowl run. And when he left, many believed it was the right time. Why? Because the expectation was that young talents like Hunt and Nolan Smith would take the next step. But here we are, 6 weeks into the season, and Hunt has not recorded a single sack. 0. That's not just underwhelming, it's alarming. And speaking of Nolan Smith, it's the same story we've been telling since college. Great talent, undeniable upside, but health has always been the question mark. Every time you ramp up his snaps, he breaks down. It's frustrating because the tools are there, but the reliability is not. That's not the kind of risk you can take when your edge rotation is already falling apart. Josh Uche, he's getting pressures, sure, but pressures don't win games. Sacks do. And while the interior line is holding it down, guys like Jordan Davis and Moro Ojomo are producing. It doesn't mean much if no one is collapsing the outside. The Eagles have always built their identity on the trenches. Right now, the edges are breaking that identity. Jalen Carter has struggled too, but at least with him, you can point to injuries as a reason. The edge group has no such excuse. They're just not getting the job done. So what's the move? Howie has options, but he can't afford to hesitate. One name that stands out is Trey Hendrickson. The Bengals pass rusher already has 4 sacks on the season and has consistently shown he can get after the quarterback. The price tag is high, reportedly a 1-year deal worth close to $30 million. But here's the thing. The Eagles would only be on the hook for half of that. With the season halfway through and Cincinnati already covering a chunk of that salary, it's a manageable number for a player who could instantly upgrade this unit. Another option is Bradley Chubb. He's a little older, pushing 29, but he's still effective and already has 4 sacks this year. With the Dolphins clearly heading toward a rebuild, this might be the perfect time to make a move. Chubb brings veteran presence and can rotate in without having to be the guy every single snap. That could be huge for a team looking for stability and pressure off the edge without mortgaging the future. But if we're talking about the future, if we're talking about a move that isn't just about now, but also about setting the foundation for years to come, then it has to be Jermaine Johnson too from the New York Jets. This is the name that gets me excited. Young, explosive, and already showing he can produce at a high level in a tough defensive system. Reports are starting to surface that the Jets might be open to moving him, even though fans are understandably upset about the idea. But it makes sense. The Jets need assets. They need to think long-term. The Eagles, meanwhile, need to win now. Johnson would be the perfect fit. Pairing him next to someone like Jalen Carter or Jordan Davis on the line would be terrifying for opponents. He gets pressure, he finishes plays, and he's only going to get better. That's the kind of guy you overpay for, not because you're desperate, but because he fits your system, your timeline, and your culture. He's not just a rental. He's a cornerstone. And that's exactly what the Eagles are missing right now. But if none of those deals materialize, and Howie can't pull off a trade, then the team might have to get creative. It might be time to take a hard look at Jahad Campbell. Yeah, I said it. Move Jahad Campbell to the edge. He's already shown flashes at linebacker, and with Nakobe Dean coming back and likely reclaiming that central role, there could be some flexibility here. Campbell has the speed, the instincts, and enough physicality to at least try it out. Because let's be honest, can he really be worse than what we've seen? At this point, it's about pressure. You have to generate pressure from somewhere. If that means rotating Campbell and Zach Bond at the edge just to get a spark, then so be it. FlyEaglesFly News family, smash subscribe and hit like. Your support keeps the freshest Philadelphia Eagles updates flying in. Drop your take in the comments, and let's talk birds. Shockwaves are rippling through the city of brotherly love as fans reel from what could be the most devastating blow to the Eagles season so far. Sources close to the team report that the franchise's star player has suffered a serious injury that will sideline him for the remainder of the season. Though the organization has yet to release an official statement, insiders suggest that the magnitude of the injury is enough to put any playoff aspirations in jeopardy. The news hit fans like a thunderbolt. Social media feeds exploded within minutes of the first whispers, with hashtags mourning the absence of the team's leading scorer and local sports bars reporting a marked dip in attendance as fans struggled to process the grim reality. The streets of Philadelphia, usually alive with chants and cheers, seemed to quiet in disbelief, as if the city itself had collectively held its breath. Among the locker room, sources indicate a mix of shock and determination. Teammates are rallying around the injured star, promising to fight harder than ever. Yet the void left on the field is undeniably significant. Coaches are said to be scrambling to adjust game plans, and speculation is rampant about who will step into the spotlight to fill the enormous gap. Some insiders whisper about potential mid-season acquisitions, while others suggest a daring shuffle of positions in a bid to salvage the campaign. Sports analysts are already weighing the long-term implications. Without their standout talent, the Eagles could see a dramatic shift in momentum, with rival teams sensing opportunity. Even so, Philadelphia fans remain fiercely loyal, sending messages of support, hope, and, for some, defiance against the misfortune that has struck. In a city that thrives on sports passion, this injury is more than just a setback. It's a heartbreak. Rumors swirl daily, each more dramatic than the last, as everyone waits with bated breath for updates. For now, Eagles Nation is left with a mix of tears, determination, and endless speculation, praying that their hero will return stronger and that the team can rise from this early season tragedy. That's a wrap from FlyEaglesFly News. If you want the fastest Eagles updates, subscribe, drop a like, and turn on the bell. Sound off in the comments. Let's talk birds.